Have you ever looked at the person you love most in the world and realized that you don't know them at all? That the face they show you every morning, the smile they give you over coffee, is nothing but a mask? For 3 years, David was my entire world. If you had asked anyone in our friend group, they would have told you that we were the lucky ones. We were the couple that everyone else wanted to be. David was charming, successful, and came from a very strict, highly respected family. His parents built an empire in real estate, and reputation meant everything to them. They expected perfection from their son, and he played the role of the perfect heir flawlessly. And me? I thought I was the luckiest woman alive. We had just signed the lease on a beautiful apartment in the city, and we were talking about marriage. We were planning a future, a family, a life together. He used to hold my hands, look me dead in the eyes, and tell me that I was the best thing that ever happened to him. He made me feel safe. He made me feel like I finally had a home. But a house built on lies will eventually collapse. And when mine fell, the sound was deafening. It started on a Tuesday. It was a completely ordinary evening. It was raining outside, and we were sitting on the couch watching a movie. David left his phone on the coffee table when he went to the kitchen to get us some water. I wasn't looking for anything. I never checked his phone. I trusted him completely. But the screen lit up with a message. It wasn't a name, just a single emoji. A red rose. The message simply said, "Can't stop thinking about last night. When can I see you again?" My heart stopped. The air left my lungs. I stared at the screen as it went dark, my mind racing, trying to find a logical explanation. A wrong number? A joke from a friend? But deep down, in the pit of my stomach, I knew. Women always know. The intuition you try to ignore is usually the truth knocking on the door. When David came back into the room, handing me a glass of water with that perfect, practiced smile, I felt sick. I took the glass, my hands shaking slightly, and I smiled back. I didn't say a word. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. Not yet. Because before I reacted, I needed to know exactly what I was dealing with. The next few days were absolute torture. Acting like everything is normal when your heart is breaking into a million pieces is the hardest thing a person can do. Every time he kissed my forehead before leaving for work, I wanted to scream. Every time he texted me to say he loved me, I felt a physical pain in my chest. But I kept my mouth shut. I became a ghost in my own life, silently watching, waiting, and investigating. I started paying attention to the little things. The way he would angle his phone screen away from me. The sudden late meetings at the office. The fact that he changed his passcode. It's funny how careless people get when they think they have you completely fooled. They leave a trail of breadcrumbs, assuming you're too blind to follow it. One night, while he was in the shower, I finally got my chance. He had left his iPad on his desk, and it was still synced to his messages. My hands trembled as I opened the app. I found the unsaved number. I scrolled up. What I saw didn't just break my heart. It shattered my entire reality. Her name was Chloe. And this wasn't a one-time mistake. This wasn't a moment of weakness. This had been going on for 8 months. 8 months of hotel rooms, secret dinners, and weekend getaways that he claimed were business trips. But the betrayal went deeper than just another woman. As I read through their messages, I found something that made my blood run cold. David wasn't just cheating on me. He was using our joint savings account, the money I had worked double shifts for, the money meant for our future home, to buy her expensive gifts. Designer bags, jewelry, a luxury vacation to a resort they were planning to take next month. He was literally stealing my future to fund his secret life. And the worst part? The messages where they talked about me. Chloe knew who I was. She knew we lived together. In one message, she asked when he was finally going to leave me. His reply? She pays half the rent and keeps the apartment clean. Why ruin a good setup? Don't worry, baby. I'm just waiting for the right time. You're the only one I want. Tears blurred my vision. I put the iPad exactly back where it was, walked into our guest bedroom, shut the door, and collapsed on the floor. I cried until I couldn't breathe. I mourned the man I thought I knew. I mourned the future I had dreamed of. But when the tears finally stopped falling, a strange, cold calmness washed over me. The sadness vanished, and in its place was a burning, quiet anger. David thought I was just a convenient setup. He thought I was weak. He had no idea who he was dealing with. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. I didn't just want to serve it cold. I wanted to freeze his entire world. If I confronted him right then, he would lie. He would manipulate the situation. He would cry, beg for forgiveness, and tell his influential family that we just grew apart. He would walk away clean, protecting his precious reputation, while I was left broke and broken. I wasn't going to let that happen. He wanted to play a game of secrets? Fine. I was going to rewrite the rules. For the next 3 weeks, I put on the performance of a lifetime. I was the perfect, loving girlfriend. I cooked his favorite meals. I asked about his day, with genuine interest. I told him how much I appreciated him. I smiled so much my cheeks hurt. And every time I smiled, I was secretly digging his grave. My first step was securing my life. I went to the bank on my lunch break and slowly started moving my portion of the money out of our joint account. I didn't take it all at once, just enough every few days, so he wouldn't notice. I opened a new, private account. I quietly signed a lease for a small, beautiful apartment across town, ready for me to move into. Then I focused on the evidence. I became a digital shadow. I took screenshots of every single message between him and Chloe. I downloaded the bank statements highlighting every single transaction he made for her using my money. I even found photos they had taken together at a fancy restaurant downtown. I compiled it all. Every receipt, every lie, every cruel joke they made about me. I put everything onto a sleek, silver USB drive. It felt heavy in my hand. It was the key to his destruction. Now I just needed the perfect stage. I didn't want to expose him in our living room where only the walls could hear. No. David's entire identity was built on his family's perfect image. His parents were wealthy, strict, and deeply traditional. They valued honor, loyalty, and public perception above everything else. As fate would have it, David's parents were hosting a massive, elegant dinner party the following weekend to celebrate their 40th wedding anniversary. Over 100 guests were invited. Family, close friends, business partners, and investors. It was the social event of the year. David asked me to go with him, naturally. He even bought me a beautiful dress to wear. "You're going to look perfect next to me," he said, kissing my cheek. "I wouldn't miss it for the world," I replied, staring straight into his eyes. The night of the anniversary party was electric. The venue was a stunning ballroom at a luxury country club. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, champagne glasses clinked, and soft jazz music played in the background. Everyone was dressed to the nines. David looked incredibly handsome in his tailored suit. He walked around the room holding my hand, introducing me to his parents' wealthy friends, playing the role of the devoted, loving partner. He was in his element, soaking up the respect and admiration of his family. His mother, a formidable woman who rarely smiled, actually pulled me aside that evening. "David seems so grounded lately," she told me, sipping her wine. "I think you've been wonderful for him. We are so proud of the man he has become." I had to swallow the lump in my throat. I just smiled politely and thanked her. If only she knew the man her son truly was. As the dinner portion of the evening wrapped up, the speeches began. David's father gave a beautiful, touching speech about loyalty, commitment, and the sanctity of family. The whole room applauded. Then it was David's turn. He walked up to the front of the room, taking the microphone. He stood next to the large projection screen that had been playing a slideshow of his parents' old photographs all night. "Family is everything," David said to the crowd, his voice smooth and confident. "My parents taught me the value of honesty, of hard work, and of true partnership. I look at them, and I see the kind of man I want to be. The kind of man I strive to be every single day." He looked directly at me and smiled. The sheer hypocrisy of it made my stomach turn. It was time. Before the event, I had paid a quiet visit to the audiovisual technician running the slide projector in the back of the room. I had handed him a $100 bill and my silver USB drive, telling him it was a surprise presentation for the family that needed to be played immediately after David's speech. As David finished his toast and the room erupted into applause, The screen behind him went black for a second. Then, it lit up. The first slide wasn't a picture of his parents. It was a massive, high-definition screenshot of a text message. The text on the massive screen read, "She pays half the rent. Why ruin a good setup? Don't worry, baby, you're the only one I want." The applause in the room died instantly. A heavy, confusing silence fell over the ballroom. People squinted at the screen, trying to understand what they were looking at. David turned around to see what was behind him. The color completely drained from his face. He froze, looking like a deer caught in headlights. Before anyone could say a word, the screen clicked to the next slide. It was a photo of David and Chloe kissing at a rooftop bar. The timestamp was clearly visible. It was from 2 weeks ago, on a night he swore he was at the office late. Next slide. Bank statements. Bright yellow highlights showing thousands of dollars transferred out of a joint account to pay for a luxury resort. Murmurs erupted in the crowd. Whispers of shock and disbelief echoed through the ballroom. His mother stood up, her face pale with horror. His father looked furious. "Turn it off," David finally shouted, his voice cracking with panic. He waved his arms at the AV booth. "Turn that off right now." "It's a mistake." But I didn't let him hide. I stood up from my chair. My legs were shaking, but I kept my back perfectly straight. The entire room turned to look at me. "It's not a mistake, David," I said, my voice steady, carrying across the silent room. I picked up my glass of champagne. "A toast," I said loudly.
To honesty.
To loyalty. And to David, who has spent the last 8 months living a double life, stealing my savings to fund his affair. I looked at his parents. They looked completely broken, staring at their son in pure shame. "I'm sorry to interrupt your beautiful evening," I told his mother calmly. "But you raised your son to value the truth. I thought you all deserved to know who he really is." David rushed toward me, his face red with shame and anger. "What are you doing? Are you crazy? We can talk about this," he hissed, trying to grab my arm. I took a step back, looking at him with nothing but pity. "There is nothing left to talk about. My things are already moved out of the apartment. Keep the furniture. It's the least you deserve." I set my champagne glass down on the table, picked up my purse, and walked toward the exit. I didn't run. I didn't cry. I walked out with my head held high, listening to the absolute chaos erupting behind me. I heard his father yelling. I heard his mother crying. The heavy oak doors of the ballroom closed behind me, and as I stepped out into the cool night air, I took my first real breath in almost a month. The fallout was spectacular. I didn't have to do anything else. The truth did all the heavy lifting. Within days, David's life completely unraveled. His father, disgusted by the public humiliation and the theft of my savings, suspended David from his high-level position at the family company. His parents cut off his financial support, telling him he needed to learn the true meaning of responsibility. Without his money and his status, Chloe didn't stick around long. She left him less than 3 weeks later. David tried to call me dozens of times. He left voicemails crying, apologizing, begging me to just sit down with him for 5 minutes. He promised he would change. He promised he would pay me back every single cent. I never answered. I blocked his number, deleted his contact, and erased him from my life completely. I had already moved into my new apartment. It was smaller, yes, but it was mine. It was quiet, peaceful, and totally safe. I got my own bank account sorted, started a new routine, and slowly began the process of healing. People often ask me if I regret doing it so publicly. They ask if I went too far. My answer is always no. When someone betrays you, they rely on your silence to protect them. They rely on your sadness to keep you weak. David thought because I loved him, I would break quietly. He thought he could steal my peace, my money, and my future and walk away without a single scratch. But I learned a very important lesson. You cannot control how people treat you, but you absolutely control what you accept. Standing up for yourself doesn't always have to mean shouting in an argument. Sometimes, standing up for yourself means quietly packing your bags, gathering the absolute truth, and dropping it right where everyone can see it. I didn't destroy David's life. He destroyed it himself. I just turned on the lights so everyone could see the mess. If you are ever in a place where someone is taking advantage of your heart, remember this. Your love is a privilege. Your loyalty is a gift. And if they decide to throw it away, let them. Just make sure they can never, ever blame the fall on you. Life goes on, and the sun always rises. Today, I am happy. I am thriving. And most importantly, I am finally free.